center only. I think center there will not be any rectangles. So I'll start from there. Can anybody tell me that what was we doing last class? Sanika, if you can tell me.
So we were doing projectile motion.
Projectile motion. So okay, yeah, I remember. So I think in basics we started.
Yes.
And we had those kinematical equations. I think along x-axis, y-axis, we had those equations. So maximum height formula, range formula, first we will make those formulas, just the derivation we will do. And, but when we will solve the equation, we'll not use those formulas. Those formulas we'll do just so that some specific question from the board perspective they're being asked. So I'll start that class. So initial speed u, particle is thrown, angle is theta. So we have ux, which is u cos theta, uy, which is u sin theta, ax, which is 0, ay, which is minus g. Okay. Wherever you have doubt, you ask me. If anything you want to do. So we need to calculate first thing, the time of flight, capital T. So that we will calculate. Time of
internet
flight, capital T. We need to calculate how much time this projectile will take to land again onto the ground. Okay. It is shown from at T0 and it will be landing at T is equals to capital T. We have four equations, four kinematical equations. Just for the reference, I'll write them again. Vx is ux, that was the first equation. Vy will equals to uy plus ayt, that was second equation. X was equals to ux into t, that was third equation. Neha, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. And the y is uyt plus r ayt. That was fourth equation. These four equations we were having. These will be the equation we'll be using while solving the equation, while deriving it. Okay. This much portion is visible to everybody, no? There is no rectangle here.
No, sir.
Okay, good. So time of flight. These four equations we have. Apart from these four equations, what we need is a condition. Condition which we can put in these equations. If I want to calculate time of flight, so when this particle will land, what will happen? What is a specific condition which will met when this particle is going to land onto the ground? Can anybody tell me? Condition. Anybody? We see the question, we check the condition. Anybody? See, when the time will be equal to time of flight, when the time will be equivalent to time of flight, the displacement along y-axis is going to be 0. Can we say that? Because time of flight we define when the displacement along y-axis becomes 0, or you can say indirectly we say when the particle land onto the ground, that time is defined as the time of flight. So when the particle will land onto the ground, the displacement along y-axis will become 0. So displacement along y-axis, first it increases from 0, it reaches to the maximum value, then again it decreases and finally it becomes 0. So when the displacement along y-axis will become 0, whatever time that will happen, that time is defined as time of flight. So after this much time, displacement will become 0. That is going to be the condition. So whenever the y will be 0, time will be equals to time of flight. So this is the condition. If I use this condition in any of the equation, I'll be getting this instant. I'll be reaching at this instant. So which equation should I use based upon these conditions? Can
So
anyone tell me that?
Vy equal to Uy.
Okay. So if I use Vy is equals to Uy, you see, I'll be putting the time. Ay I have, Uy we have. I'll be getting the Vy. Am I interested in calculating the Vy right now? I'll be getting the y component of velocity at this time. Right now, we don't want that. We want this. What about fourth equation? In the fourth equation, if I use y is equals to 0, Uy is known, Ay is known, and in place of small t, if I put capital T, then this equation will have only one unknown, that is capital T. So I'll be getting the value of capital T. That's how we check. This is the thing we have to calculate. So from equation 4, if I use equation 2, I'll be getting the y component of velocity. That is also something we will get at this instant, but right now we are not interested in that. We are interested in calculating the value of capital T, which is unknown, time of flight. So if I use equation 4, which is this one, I put these values here. Let's put it 0. The value of y will become 0. Uy is u sine theta multiplied with capital T, because we are putting y 0. So we have to put time as capital T, plus half into minus t into capital T square. So my equation 4 gets converted into this one, which will give us, multiply kar denge, 2u sine theta into capital T minus gt square is equals to 0. Let's take t common. It will be 2u sine theta minus small gt is equals to 0. The equation 4 gets converted to this equation, and this equation has only one unknown, which is capital T. And from this equation, we will get two values for capital T. One value is T0. If T is 0, this equation is 0. And the second value of capital T will be equals to 2u sine theta upon g. If this is 0, this whole thing is 0. And if this is 0, this whole thing is 0. So T0 is one of the root of this equation, as well as capital T is equals to 2u sine theta upon g is also one of the root. So for these two values of capital T, this equation will be 0. And when this equation is 0, this condition is met, y is 0. So at these two times, particle will be at y is equals to 0, or particle will be at ground. We know, since we are throwing the particle from y0, so obviously T0, y is also 0. We are not interested in that. We are interested in when it will land. This is not the landing time, this is the throwing time, projectile time. Landing time is going to be this one. So I get the value of time of flight as 2u sine theta upon g. This is going to be the formula for time of flight, which we are not going to memorize, because in physics we don't memorize anything. What we focus on is the process. What process we have followed and what conditions we have used. Because when the question will come, only this is the thing we have to follow. Nobody is going to ask you a question onto the formula except in the school exams. This becomes a formula. We will note down this formula. Vaishnav, any doubt? This is going to be the formula. We will note down this formula. Okay. Note it down. We'll go for the next thing. This is our time of flight.
Really?
Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Mark my word, the process we have to focus here, the condition, how we got the condition, and then how we followed them. Because this is how we are going to solve the question. Any question actually, possibly will be this one. Okay, once you do it, now try to get Vy as well. Try to get the velocity along y-axis at this string. Calculate that using the second equation. Calculate velocity along y-axis. And then tell me. Velocity along y-axis, calculate that. Condition will be, we have to calculate Vy at t is equals to capital T. So in place of time, you will put the time of flight in equation 2 and you will calculate the Vy. Good.
So u sine theta minus gt.
Put the value, solve it now. But put the value for T.
Sir, minus
Now we
u
have-
sine theta.
Minus u sine theta. So what do you observe? What is your deduction?
Sir, we substitute 2u sine theta by g
No,
at t.
deduction. I'm not
G
asking
and
the
t.
process.
G and minus g.
No, deduction. When you get the result, how you will elaborate the result? What kind of result you are getting?
Negative, sir.
Can I say when the particle reaches at ground again, here, at this point, its speed or velocity along the y-axis was u sine theta. And here we get the minus u sine theta. What does that mean by minus u sine theta?
Opposite direction.
Opposite direction. Vectors में learn किया था जो. So the speed becomes same again here. The particles y-axis, y component of the velocity again it is same. Only the direction has changed when a particle reaches at this point. That's the observation we have got. One more observation, simple observation. When we put it here, the Vy we will get as minus u sine theta, which means the direction has changed for the speed. So speed at this point and speed at this point is same. Okay. Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now we want to get the value of Hmax, maximum height achieved. We want to calculate the maximum height during this projectile motion. Now tell me the condition. What condition we will put and which equation we will use. There are only these two things which are important. What condition, which equation to calculate Hmax. What specific will happen when the particle reaches at maximum height? Condition we get from the spatial thing. Huh?
Velocity will become 0.
Velocity becomes 0. Is it? If the velocity will become 0, it should fall. Will it be falling down? Or do you need to refine this statement one more time?
The horizontal component.
So we need a time at which it will be at the highest points.
Yeah, that's the thing we have to calculate. But how we will get that time?
Yes, sir.
Condition?
The horizontal component of velocity will become 0.
No.
Oh yeah,
What about vertical component? Yeah.
vertical component becomes 0.
Yes. The thing is, particle reaches at the maximum height when it cannot go further up. It cannot go further up if it is not having any component along the vertical direction, velocity component. So at the maximum height, at the maximum height, vertical component of velocity will become 0. So the condition for calculating Hmax will be when Vy will become 0, the time will be T0, and at that time, the displacement along y-axis will be equals to Hmax. All three statements simultaneously. So first we will get the time when Vy will become 0, and then at that time, whatever is the displacement along y-axis, that displacement will be maximum height.
Yeah.
So first we will calculate the time from equation 2 when Vy will become 0. And then using that time from equation 4, we will get the displacement along y-axis, and that displacement is going to be the maximum displacement. Anybody? Doubt hai pucho. If you're not asking the doubt, this doubt will become big later stage. It can be any doubt. When the particle will reach at the maximum height,
Sir, can I
we
explain
find
once
the
more?
condition. Yes. When the particle will reach at the maximum height, its velocity component along the y-axis will become 0. Why? Because if it is non-zero, can we say it is a maximum height? Because if it is non-zero, it is having some non-zero velocity component in upward direction. It will further go up, isn't it? If velocity is there, particle will move further. If particle is still moving further, can we say this is the maximum height? At maximum height, it should not move further. So it will not move further up if it is not having any velocity component in upward direction. I'll generalize this point. During any kind of motion, let's say generic, let's go generic. This is some direction S, not X, not Y. It can be any direction. And if I want the maximum displacement along this direction, if I want, for that condition will always be Vs should be 0. When the velocity along this direction will become 0, at that instant, the displacement along this direction will be maximum. You write a note, sideman. Write a note. So displacement along any direction will become max when velocity along that direction will become 0. And it's always. Not
Can you
just
repeat the
y.
sentence?
So displacement along any direction will become max or minimum. Minimum is also included in that actually. It will become max or minimum when the velocity along that direction will be 0. It is coming from the maximum minimum concept actually. Elaborate form of that. Later on you will understand when you will do detail now. Maths mein jab karoge, you will understand that completely. But the result is this. In this direction, displacement will be max or minimum if velocity will become 0 in this direction. Because if velocity is non-zero, the particle is moving further. If a particle is moving further, it cannot be max. Max will come later on. So whenever max will come, the velocity has to be 0. Because then it cannot move further. How do we differentiate between max and minimum? That I'll say later on. Because majority of time, 10% of time, they will be interested in the max only. आपसे max ही पूछेंगे. Whatever they are asking, this is the only process. If they are asking minimum, we'll follow the same process. And to differentiate between max and minimum, the process was double differentiation. Again, later stage, when we'll actually start applying these concepts for the physics problem. But concept yaad rakhna. You have to remember the concept. Clear? So since we are interested in calculating the maximum height along y-axis, it will happen when the Vy will be 0. So first, by putting Vy 0, we will get the time. And after getting the time, from equation 4, we will get the maximum displacement. Now, solve it. Calculate karo aap log. Use the second equation, get the time, and then this time you use for the fourth equation to calculate Hmax. Do it.
Sir, can you explain once more? I didn't understand properly.
Huh?
Can you explain once more? I didn't understand properly.
The displacement along any direction will be max when the velocity along that direction becomes zero. Because if velocity is non-zero, it means particle is going further. If particle is going further, it cannot be max. Max means point of return. And point of return जो होता है, whenever you are returning, you have to stop. You have to stop. So in any direction, if you want to find the point where you have gone max, point of returning, you have to stop here along this direction. So along that direction, velocity will be zero. This is generic, that note. Here we are interested along the y-axis. So displacement along y-axis will be max when the velocity along y-axis will be zero. So first by putting this condition, we'll get the time. And after getting the time from equation 4, we will calculate the maximum height. So first equation 2, then equation 4. The third kinematical equation is v square is equal to u square plus 2gs. We don't use it actually. I don't prefer using that equation. I only prefer using that equation after work energy theorem. So only focus on first and second, which we have divided into 4 equations actually. Okay, solve it now and get the answer. Remember, our objective is not just to solve these questions. Our objective is to solve all the questions. So follow the process I'm telling you right now. From the third equation, you will be easily able to get the answer, but only this answer. आगे problem आएगा.
So T naught is u sin theta by g.
Yeah.
So,
Minus
do you see any specific about this T naught? The T naught value you have got?
It's half of capital T.
Yeah. So again, write the note. From now onwards, you can say the maximum height is achieved exactly half of the time of flight.
Sir, y is minus 3 u square sin square theta by 2g.
And solve it further. Further solution is required. Or solve होगा वो. Result you are getting, it will be further solved.
So is y equal to u square sin square theta by g?
2g.
Sir,
Yeah, 2g will also be 2g.
So 2g. Sorry.
Yeah. No, better check the calculation actually. When you calculate the h max, it will come out to be u square sin square theta upon after solving. This will be the answer you will get. So first you get this T naught, which is exactly half of the time of flight. This point you should note it down.
Fan.
Okay. And after getting this time, you will use the equation 4. You put this value of time and you will get the h max, the value of which will be u square sin square theta upon 2g.
For
I'll be solving now, okay? Equation 2 is Vy is equals to Uy plus Ayt. So I'll put the condition Vy 0 and the time is t. I'll put this condition to get this time when the height will be maximum. I'll put Vy 0 for the equation 2. Uy is u sin theta plus because it was in the upward direction minus of gt naught. Why minus? Because the ay is in the downward direction. So this value of t naught we get as u sin theta upon g, which is t by 2. So after this much time, particle will achieve the maximum height.
बराबर.
Note down this point. This time is equivalent to t by 2. So you can say particle achieve the maximum height after half of time of flight. Then we go for equation 4, which says y is equals to uyt plus half ay t square. Condition here is when the time will become t naught, which we have already calculated, the displacement along y-axis will be h max, the condition. So we'll put that. So y becomes h max, uy is u sine theta multiplied with t naught, which is this u sine theta upon g, minus half g t square, which is u square sine square theta upon g square. Cancel out हो गया. This will be u square sine square theta upon g minus u square sine square theta upon 2g. That will give you u square sine square theta upon 2g. This is your h max. And sort of a become formula which we will never use except in the schools. Okay. Again, don't focus on to the formula, focus on to the process. Try to see the application aspect of the process. Okay. Note down. Okay. Now we'll be interested in calculating the displacement along x-axis. We call it range. We want to calculate what is the maximum displacement along x-axis. So obviously maximum displacement along x-axis will be the displacement during this time of flight. So when the particle will strike the ground, during that process, whatever displacement is there along the x-axis, that displacement will be defined as the range. Clear hai? Let's calculate that. Our left side is visible. Is there any rectangle onto the left side?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. We define it by it's a maximum displacement along the x-axis. Tell me the condition. What condition? What equation? Tell me the condition and equation to be used. No, beta, Vx is non-zero. Vx is throughout constant if you see the from equation 1. Na? Vx is always equals to u cos theta. The velocity along x-axis will remain constant. That we are getting from the first equation 1. Condition for calculating the range.
यार बरा
Ayush, condition. Samarth, condition. Yes. Vaibhav, good. The thing is, this is a range and this time is capital T. So after T is equals to capital T, the displacement along x-axis will be R. After this much time, whatever the displacement along x-axis, after this much time, whatever is the displacement along x-axis, that displacement will be defined as the range. Because range we are defining as the point of collision. The velocity will not be zero. We are calculating the displacement only when the collision is happening. Because after this also the collision will keep on happening. We are not interested in that. The displacement during first collision. This. So after this much time of flight, particle is going to collide with the ground. And whatever displacement will happen till that time will be defined as the range. Now tell me which equation?
The third one.
Say x is equals to ux into t. In this equation, we put the value. R will become
U cos theta.
multiplied with t, which will be u cos theta into the value of t was
2u sin theta by g.
And theta by g.
which will become
2u
u
square sin
square 2 sin theta cos theta upon g. क्या होता है ये? हाँ?
Sin 2.
Sin 2 theta.
Sin 2 theta. So R becomes u square sin 2 theta upon g. Again, we will focus onto the process. That's a formula. We'll remember this formula only for school exams. But process is something we have to understand. How, what kind of conditions we put, and then how we use the equation. So in this case, you can see the range basically depends upon u square, g, and sin 2 theta. The speed ultimately, if somebody is throwing a particle, the speed of the particle generally depend upon the strength. So just assume you guys are throwing a ball. So with what speed you are going to throw the ball, it will depend upon your strength, isn't it? It will not depend upon the direction, whether you throw the ball in horizontal direction or vertical direction or making some angle. The speed will only depend upon your strength, what strength you have. So this thing you cannot change. So this thing you cannot change. This thing. Once you select the person who is throwing the object, this thing cannot be changed. This is also constant, but the range will also be decided by the angle. So you see, if you are here and you decide to throw a particle in an upward direction, the range will be zero. Whatever speed you throw, range is always be zero. Isn't it? It will go up and it will come down. It will be here. You make some angle, there will be some range. You change the angle, range will change. You throw it horizontally, it will drop here only. So that's the thing. The range will be a function of theta. The thing is, many a time, you want your range to be maximum. When you play, let's say, when you play a ball, when you throw a ball, you decide कि मैं सबसे ज़्यादा दूर फेंकूंगा. You decide. When I was a kid, I used to have that kind of challenge with our friend. Let's say who will throw it farthest. So when we make that kind of challenge, let's say who will throw it farthest, there are two factors involved. One is our strength, relative strength, whether I am having a more strength or that other guy is having a more strength. So let's hypothetically, we both are having the same strength. After having the same strength, if we want to have a maximum range or maximum distance cover, it will be decided by at what angle we throw. So the range will be maximum if value of sin 2 theta will be maximum. What can be the maximum value of sin 2 theta? Or sin any theta actually?
45.
You see, always listen to the question. Always. The question I asked, maximum value of sine theta.
1.
1. So sine of any angle maximum value is 1, and to be more precise, it is plus 1. And cos of any angle is also 1. So if I want the range to be maximum, the value of sine theta should be plus 1. So when the value of sine theta is plus 1, the maximum range we can achieve is u square upon g, and that will happen when sine 2 theta is plus 1. And sine 2 theta will be plus 1 when 2 theta is 90 or when theta is 45.
45.
So if you want your range to be maximum, in that case, you have to throw the projectile or throw the ball or throw anything, making an angle 45 with the horizontal. When you do that, at that point of time, you will have the maximum range possible. Clear here? Any problem?
No, sir.
Note it down. Language wise also note it down. This thing. Language also you should note it down. That when the projectile is being thrown at 45-degree angle, the range will be maximum. Now let's come to the juicy part.
Sir,
The thing is, yes.
sentence you told to write?
Okay, yeah. I'll repeat the sentence, but whenever you are writing the sentence, because till 10th standard, your habit is being that you write the dictation. My advice will be, when you are writing, try to change the language. Because when you try to change the language, your mind will work. At that time, the absorption of that concept will be better. So whenever I'm dictating, the best case scenario, don't write as I say. Always change the language. Crux should be same. The language should be yours. Okay. So we will write here that when we want to have maximum range, angle of projectile should be 45 degrees. So, or you can say at 45-degree angle, if the projectile is being thrown, the range will be maximum. So the juicy part, from the very beginning, I keep saying we'll not remember the formulas, we'll remember the process, we'll follow the process. Why I am saying that? The thing is, all these formulas are only valid for this kind of projectile. This kind of projectile means when the point of projection and the point of landing, they are along a horizontal line. When the point of projectile and point of landing are along the same horizontal line, only then these formulas are valid. But if the point of projectile and point of landing is not on the same line, these formulas will not be valid. What will be valid? The conditions and the equation. So if you want to make it generic in the sense when it can be applicable for any condition, any type of question, the only help you will get is from the conditions and the equations. Equations are not going to change. There are 4 equations. Condition, we will decide based upon the question. It can be any question. Minimum is 0, beta. Minimum range, obviously, if you throw in a upward direction, it will be 0. We are talking about distance, so it will not go for negative value. Yeah. The minimum is 0 at upward and horizontal direction. Horizontal, the moment you throw horizontal, it will land here only. So these formulas are only valid when the point of projection, which is here, when the point of projection and the point of landing is along a horizontal line. This point you can note it down. All these formulas are valid when the point of projection and the point of landing are along the same horizontal line. They are lying onto a horizontal line. These formulas are not valid when the point of projection is along a different horizontal line and point of landing is along a different horizontal line. They will not be valid. But these conditions, how we are getting the condition and how we are putting the condition into the equation, they will be valid. That process will be easy. That's why from the very beginning, I'm emphasizing onto the condition and equations, not onto the formulas. Because conditions and equation will be valid every time. Clear here? Note down this point. Formulas are valid formulas are only valid when the point of projection and the point of landing is along the same horizontal line. Not valid when they are not along the same horizontal line. But conditions and equations will be valid all the times. Note this point and
Sir,
then
formulas
we'll
are only valid
when the point of projection and point of landing are along the same horizontal line. This is the horizontal line. Not valid when they are not. What is valid when they are not along the same horizontal line? Conditions
and
the equation.
Sir, can you repeat that?
Which one?
Formula valid only when?
These formulas are only valid when the point of projection. Formulas are only valid when the point of projection and the point of landing. You can see the spotlight I'm putting here. Point of projection and point of landing are along the same horizontal line. They are not valid when the point of projection and point of landing is not along the same horizontal line. But conditions, these are the conditions, these were the conditions actually, and the equations are always valid. Conditions and equations are always valid. So while solving the equation, we will never use the formulas. We'll always use the conditions and the equation. That is going to be our mantra.
Now muted me. Mute
I'll go for the questions and I'll ask you the condition every time. You have to think about the condition. Okay. So there is some person is here and he throws the projectile with a speed 10√2 meter per second. This guy is at a height of 10 meters. So there is a person standing over a tower. Tower height is 10 meters. He throws a projectile at an angle 45 with a horizontal. ऐसे जाएगा ना projectile. That's how the projectile will go and will hit somewhere here. This whole motion is projectile motion. Calculate time of flight. Calculate range. So you have to calculate the time of flight and the range. Now tell me, what is time of flight? When the time taken for the particle to hit the ground, and the ground is not here. Ground is here. So this whole time will be defined as the time of flight. Range is also a displacement when the particle hit the ground. This is not going to be the range. This is not going to be the range. Range is going to be, and neglect this one. Neglect this portion. Just okay. Clear here? Any problem? Any problem?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Solve it. First, get me the conditions. Condition for this. What will be the conditions to calculate time of flight? No, Amu. Right now, I'm telling you to focus onto the conditions.
Displacement along y-axis will be minus 10 meters.
Very good, very good. Amo, listen. Formula nahi kaam karega. That answer 2 seconds is not the answer. 2 seconds you have got using the formula. Now the formula cannot be applied here because this question is not the. This is a generic question. The formula is not valid for this. Why? Because this is the point of projection and this is the point of landing. These 2 points are not along the same horizontal line. So formula is not valid. So from the very beginning, I'm telling you formulas can lie. Go by the conditions and equations. So when we have to calculate time of flight, and don't try to be the first one to get the answer. Try to be the right one. So if I want the condition to calculate time of flight, particle is projected at T0 and will land here at T is equals to capital T. A point 10. This direction I'm taking positive and this direction, upward direction I'm taking positive. Condition will be when the displacement along y-axis will become minus 10. Time will be equal to capital T.
Hello.
From here, when the particle will land here, how much displacement it will be having along y-axis? This much?
Yes, sir.
Particle will be striking this point. The displacement along y-axis will be minus 10 because the particle is in the beginning, it goes along upward along y-axis. Then it goes downward. And when the displacement along y-axis, becomes equals to minus 10, then this projectile will hit the ground. So when displacement along y-axis becomes minus 10, the time will be capital. Which equation?
The fourth.
Use it. Did you get a move? No, beta, it will not be 1 second. Check the calculation. Focus on to plus minus. What's the value of A by E? Those things. Oh, okay. Conditions, equations, and then it is done. The moment you start getting the conditions.
Sir,
Yes.
I got 1 plus root 3.
How much?
1 plus root 3.
Yeah, I think 1 plus root 3. ये
Yeah.
कम है, ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. Plus minus check करो. It should be more than that. I have not done the calculation. So the value of uy, initial velocity along y-axis, is plus 10 root 2 sine 45, which is plus 10. Ay is minus 10. Ux is plus 10. Then we use the condition with equation 4. Y is uyt plus half ay t square. So when the y becomes minus 10, t becomes time of flight. We put the value. Minus 10 is equals to 10 into capital T minus half into 10 into t square. 5. This equation right hand side le jayenge everything And if we divide it by 5, the whole equation, it will become t square minus 2t minus 2 is equals to 0. Isn't it? So left hand side le jate hain. So t will be equals to 2 plus minus under root 4 b square
plus 4.
minus 4as. The minus is here, so minus minus plus हो जाएगा, plus 8 divided by 2. So 2 plus minus under root 12 upon 2. T becomes 1 plus minus root 3. So 1 minus root 3 is not possible because that will become negative. So T will be root 3 plus 1. So after that much time, particle will be landing onto the ground. Note down this one. Remember, it is root 3. Focus on to the calculation. Calculation will get improved by making the mistakes only. That's the process. Calculation improve करने के लिए process slow करना होता है. Process slow. If you do the process slowly, so it will take a little bit time. Your answer will not be coming fast, but your calculation will improve. Amog, I will be calling you after the class, okay? I need to talk to you.
Sir, R is 10 into root 3 plus 1.
Yeah, what's the condition for R?
X is equal to R, T is equal to T naught.
Yeah, capital T.
So R is 10 into root 3 plus 1.
Yes, yes. So the thing is, displacement along x-axis, after this much time will be the range. After this much time, the displacement along x-axis will be the range. So I'll be using the third equation. So at t is equals to capital T, x will be equals to r. Equation 3, which is x is equals to ux into t. We put the conditions. R will be 10 into
1 plus
root 3 plus 1. That will be your range. Only the equation and condition, nothing else. Not just in projectile, आगे भी यही करना है. We don't memorize formulas, especially in my class. Nobody memorize the formula. The formulas you have to memorize, I'll tell you to memorize.
So,
Yeah.
so when T, both of them are positive when the time,
Yeah.
there is one for
Both the
minimum
time.
and other one.
Yes.
Okay.
If there is single value, that is the value they are asking. There are two values. One will be for the value they are asking, and other will be exactly opposite to that. Exactly. If they're asking the maximum, the other will be exactly
Minimum.
opposite to that, which is minimum.
Okay.
So note down everybody.
So, and do you check that by differentiation?
Which one? This one. Yeah, we can do
Minimum
that.
and minimum and maximum value.
Yeah, you can do that as well.
Okay.
Practice के लिए you can do it. Practice के लिए ना, you can do it. And later on, as student graduate will happen. All the connection you will be able to make it. In physics and mathematics, the whole connection you will make it, but that will take around 6-7 months. Till that time, you keep practicing, keep trying to do it.
Yes.
Till you are following a right process rightly, you will always get the answer. Right process rightly. If your answer is wrong, it means your process is going to be improved. Some mistake you are making, and वो mistake सही हो जाएगा. Always remember that. If you try to solve the same question by following a different method, it's always good. It's always appreciated. But formula याद नहीं करना है. We don't want to rely onto the formula. If one rely onto the formula in physics, they can never learn the physics. Okay, so I'll be going for the next question. Again, focus will be onto the condition and equations. I'll try to keep equations easy. 10 root 2 meter per second. Projectile is thrown at angle 45. Oh, एक second. Let's make it a little bit. 100 root 2 meter per second. This time we are throwing the particle with this speed, and there is a ball. So like Amog is throwing a ball, and he wants to hit the ball. He throws the ball at this speed and at an angle 45. The ball is at a distance, let's say 20 meters from the move. Here is the move. At what height onto the ball will hit? Last page, okay. Note down that. Jan, you have missed some classes now. So are you sitting for the 7 to 9 class as well? Jan? So the particle is thrown with the 10 root 2 meter per second speed at an angle 45. And from the point of projection, there is a ball at a distance 20 meter. We have to calculate at what height this ball will strike the wall. Condition, equation. Hundred root. The speed is 100 root. Vaibhav, did I say this height is going to be the maximum height? The question is where, at what height it will collide. I didn't say anywhere that it is going to be the maximum height. Ultimately, think yourself as a person who is throwing the ball and you want to hit a ball. Height निकालना है. 45 degree कर दिया. Conditions. Without condition, you cannot start the equation. That's the thing.
So, displacement along x-axis is centimeters. So, using the third equation, we can find time.
Yes.
5 seconds.
Yeah, good.
And then,
5 seconds.
Yeah.
what did you get?
Do it. वही है.
1 by 5.
Huh? 1 by 5.
Yeah, 1 by 5.
So,
And then
use the fourth equation.
Yes.
fourth equation to find the
Displacement along y-axis, height. First, we'll use this condition. first we need to know when this ball, at what time this ball is going to collide the ball. So we'll
0.2
calculate the
meters.
time. We'll calculate the time when this ball will collide the ball. So when the displacement along the x-axis for this ball will be 20 meters, then this ball will collide the ball. And at that time, whatever is the displacement along y-axis, that is going to be the height at which it will collide.
So height is 0.2 meters.
Yeah. Oh, calculation check earlier. No? I didn't do the calculation.
Yes, sir.
What did you get the height as?
Vaishnav, we cannot
0.2
take it
meters.
h max. I am not
0.2.
asking you the h max.
Yeah,
I'm asking you the height.
Okay, sure.
That's why I again told you. Formulas we don't use. First we use the first condition. When displacement along x-axis will be this much, get that time, and from this time get the y. If you remember in the previous question, this condition we were using first because y was given. If you see this question, point of collision, displacement along y-axis was known. So from there, displacement along y-axis, we got the time, and by using the time, we calculated the displacement along x-axis. And this question is reversed to the previous question. This time, when the collision will happen, we know how much displacement along x-axis is going to be. We get the time using along the x-axis, and then this time we use to calculate along displacement along the y-axis. ux के लिए बेटा take the component.
Sir, I'm getting 99/5.
So I'm getting same.
Okay, then it will be that much only. So it will be 100
19.8 meters.
cos 45.
19.8. 99/5, 19.8.
Sin 45. So ux will be this much and uy is this much. So uy is 100, ux is also 100. Okay, Nakul? Ux will be this much.
$19.8.
Yes.
So equation 3.
Yes, Kumu.
X is ux into t. We put this condition. 20 is equals to 100 into t naught. T naught comes out to be 1/5 seconds. So after this much time, this ball is going to strike the wall. Then equation 4, which is y is uyt plus half ayt square. So y basically h निकालना है. It is 100 into 1/5 minus 1/2 into 10. Basically minus minus यहाँ पे आ गया and 1/25. 2, 5. So 2 cancel. 5 say 20. 20 minus 1/5, and that will be equals to
19.8.
9.8 meters. So at this much height, the projectile is going to collide with the wall. See, if the conditions are clear, then there are 4 equations, and generally it is the second, third, fourth, which you use. Note down. I'll go for the next.
अच्छा, balcony door please. Smoke.
अभी सब लोगों के लिए maximum focus should be for maths. Maximum focus. So whatever time you are spending, 50% of the time should be utilized for maths. For physics, you can utilize 35% of time. Chemistry, 15% is more than sufficient right now. But it should be regular. Chemistry should be regular. You should be going through the chemistry on a daily basis. Math, maximum time and maximum effort should be. Otherwise, problem will come. Whether you like the maths or not, whether you are from the bio background or not, maths को लेते हुए चलना है साथ में. After some time वो maths कम कर देंगे, कोई issue नहीं है. Once you get the grasp of that. Okay, I'll go for the next page or next question. Note down करिए सर. Have you noted down?
हाँ sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are two buildings. One is quite large. This one you can say infinity tak hai. The second building is of 50-meter height. From the second building, projectile is thrown with the speed 102 meter per second at an angle 45. The distance between these two walls is 50 meters. Calculate the point where this projectile is going to strike with the ground with respect to horizon.
The height of the small one is 50 meters, sir.
Yeah, 50, 50.
Same process as before.
So we have to find the height and
Height only.
only height.
So the same process as before.
I don't know.
Oh no, wait. Different height. Okay.
Height to take as 50 plus 7.
Yeah.
Use your own mind. Because when the real questions will come, I'll not be available there to help. So at what height this ball will hit the wall? We have to calculate that height.
Is it 98.75?
98.75 meters.
Is it the same process or different process?
So
Like
same process and then you add 15 meters.
Yes,
I added
yes,
15.
Yes. the same process, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
If you remove this much portion, it's the same question. So basically get the height from this point following the previous process and add 50 meters to that. If this height comes out to be negative, it means it is colliding downside. Even in that case, you have to add 50 meters. So if the height, when you calculate using the previous method, comes out to be, let's say, minus 10. So you will add 50, it will be 40 from the ground. Minus 10 from this point. So condition will be same. X is equals to 50 meters. Time is T0. And Y is H. First, you use these conditions to get
That's
time.
73.75 meters.
Yeah. When I got
Yeah. 73 or 98 are right? Rishi, check your answer. 98.75.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Vaishnav, you are getting 73.75. Others are getting 98.75. Check the calculation. Vaishnav, check your calculation.
Yes, sir.
AY is minus G. Acceleration along y-axis is minus G. No? The moment you throw the ball, it's only the gravity which is acting. And the acceleration along gravity is minus G if you are taking downward direction as negative.
So got it, sir.
Nakul, have you got it?
Yes, sir.
No, Amog, it is not always negative. If you are taking downward as negative, you will write it negative. If in a question, you, let's say, assume downward is positive, then you will write it positive. But if you assume downward as positive, then upward will become negative. It's always relative. No? If I'm assuming upward direction as positive, then downward will become negative. So whatever is in the upward direction, we'll take it positive, and whatever is in the downward direction, we'll take it negative. You see, since we are taking upward, generally we take upward as positive. So speed along y-axis we are writing as, plus 100, because upward we have taken positive. But AY, which is downward G, will write as minus. If you take upward as negative, downward will be positive. Then we'll write this positive and this as negative. It's like that. Okay. Have you got the answer, Amok? And Nakul, do I need to solve it? Tell me. Anyone?
I got the answer, sir. I got the answer.
Okay, good. Do I need to solve it? Anyone who's not got the answer? Okay, let's solve it. So x is ux into t. That's a third equation. I'll be using this condition. X is 50, ux is 100, ux is 100 along x-axis multiplied with t. So from here, t0 will come out to be 1/2 seconds. So this is third equation. We are using equation 3, kinematical equation. So when the displacement along x-axis will be 50, the time will be t0. We got the time t0. So after this much time, displacement along x-axis will be 50. And when the displacement along x-axis will be 50, projectile will hit the wall. And after this much time, whatever is the displacement along y-axis, that is going to be the height, but from this point. Because this is y0 we have assumed. This is the origin we have assumed. So equation 4, which is y is equals to uyt plus half ay. We'll use this condition. Time we have already got. H will be equals to plus 100, which is a uy multiplied with 1 by 2 minus half ay is 10. We have put minus because ay is minus 10 into t square, which is 1 by 4. 2, 5, 50. So it becomes 50 minus 5 by 4. So that becomes 49, or not 49, sorry. 48.8. So with respect to this point, particle is hitting at 48.8 meter with respect to this point. And this point is at height 50 meter from the ground because this is down. So, and I have asked you the height from this point. So total height will be 50 plus 48.8 and that will become 98.8 meters. Okay, note it down. Anok, check your calculation where you made the mistake. Check it. Next question. I'm going to make the question a little bit more difficult now. Projectile on inclined plane. This is a separate topic actually for us, but we will not take it separate. For us, it's a condition and equations. There are multiple ways to solve these kind of questions. Total angle is 60. This angle is 30. So there is a plank. This is a plank. A projectile is thrown from the bottom of the plank with 100 meter per second speed. The angle of plank is 30. The projectile is thrown at an angle 60 with the horizontal. We have to calculate at what distance along the projectile, along the plank, this projectile will hit the plank. At what distance along this plank, this projectile will hit the plank. One more time. This is a plank, fixed plank. Angle is 30 degree. Projectile is thrown from this point at an angle 60 with 100 meter per second speed. This projectile will be hitting the plank. We have to calculate at what distance along this plank this projectile will hit the plank. The R you have to calculate. This question is going to be a little bit difficult. This question is going to be a little bit difficult. Difficulty level, I'll say it will be approximately IT level. These kind of questions they have asked 2-3 times. Plank means inclined plane. Inclined plane.
Can we just take the plank as horizontal and then theta with 30 degrees?
That's up to you because this is a question right now. Now you decide how you want to solve this question. You decide the process. You decide. Yes. Any other doubt except the solution? You can do anything. Condition, equation.
I got 500 root 3 meters.
Yeah, so even I got 500 root 3 meters.
How you solve it? Yes, Anika, how you solve it?
So I took the inclined plane. I took the angle as 30 degrees. First, I found the time. I used the fourth equation.
Okay, what's the value of phi? You put it there?
I put 0.
No.
Okay, then it's wrong.
Because when this will collide with the plank, will the height be 0?
No.
Now, what you did?
I'm not sure if it's correct anymore.
No, I'm just asking what you did. Either you will be right or you will be correct for the next question. What math will you follow? What concept?
Sir, I used the plan. I set the plank as the horizontal and took theta as 30 degrees.
Cos theta as 30 degrees.
I used
No.
theta as 30 degrees.
No. Rishi, what you did? Okay. So I'll tell you, there are two methods actually. First, I'll go by the same method which we are following right now. So ultimately, the thing is, if this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis, it's all about coordinate system. If this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, ux is 100 cos 60 along this axis, which will be 100 cos 60, and that will be cos 60 is 1 by 2. So that will be 50 meter per second, and that too positive. Uy is 100 sin 60, which is 50 root 3 meter per second. Ax is still 0 because there is no acceleration. Whatever acceleration is there, it is downward. G is downward, so there is no component along this x-axis. And Ay is minus 10. The irony is this projectile cannot hit the ground. This projectile cannot hit the ground. It will be hitting somewhere here. So what will be the coordinate of this point? In terms of r, let's say it is x comma y. The coordinates are x comma y. The x coordinate of this point, meaning displacement along x-axis, this projectile will hit this point when this projectile will travel along x-axis equivalent to r cos 30. R is not known, which is r root 3 by 2. And along y-axis, r sin 30. When displacement along x-axis will be this much and the displacement along y-axis will be this much, then this projectile will hit the plane. It's not just along x-axis, it is along the y-axis as well. So here I'll use the condition when x is r root 3 by 2, time is t naught, and y is r by 2. Equation 3, equation 4. So when I use equation 3, I'll be having one equation, two unknown, because r is also not known. So if I use equation 3, I'll get one equation which will have r as well as t naught, isn't it? Neither the r is known nor the t naught is known. Yeah. Then I'll use the equation 4, which will have t naught as well as r. So I'll have one equation from here, one equation from here, and the two unknown, r and t naught. क्या करेंगे? Eliminate t naught, get the value of r. Point समझ में आ रहे?
Yeah.
Because in this case there are two unknowns. In previous questions, if you see, either the x value was known and we were asked the value of y. Ultimately, or the y value was known and x we need to calculate. But if I make the diagram, let's say a new diagram I make for the previous question. Let's make, just to understand. It's to make the previous diagram. This was happening, na? Particle was thrown from the point and it's striking the wall at some point, isn't it? Yes. If I say this question and the Planck question is same, isn't it? If point of collision and point of projection, if I join, and if these 2 points are not onto the same level, it's just a Planck. Only thing here is when we were solving this question, x was given and y we need to calculate, or y was given, x we need to calculate. What if neither the x nor the y is given? No problem. Take it xy, ये निकालना है, we have to calculate r. Get the value of x in terms of r, get the value of y in terms of r, and make the equation using the 3 and 4, and then solve it. That's what we are going to do here. This question is similar to the wall question. Only difference is neither the x nor the y is given. You have been asked to make the equation. Take your time. Take your time. Think about it. What we have done. How we have related this question with the previous questions. If you understand this, then there is nothing more to understand in project application.
Sir, here ux will be equal to 50 root 3, no sir?
Ux is cos 60. Cos 60 is 1 by 2.
Okay, sir. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. 60. So ux will be 100 cos 60. And cos 60 is root 3 by 2. Oh, sorry, 1 by 2. Sin 60 is root 3 by 2.
Yes, sir, sorry.
No problem. You guys will keep making mistakes. But just keep learning from them. Now solve, everybody. Think about this process and don't try to memorize anything. Condition, equation, condition, equation. They will keep changing. Equation will remain same. Now try to solve this and get me the answer, then I'll solve it. Okay, one more time I'm explaining. So previously, when we were not going for the same horizontal plane, when we were not going for the same horizontal plane, the thing is, what was happening? एक second, guys. Wait. So earlier, what was happening? Projectile was striking here. This is also similar to Planck. Or if you go a little bit further, when projectile was striking here, this was also the Planck case. Planck is nothing but a case where the point of projection and the point of striking are not along the same horizontal line. But in these two cases, either the x was given or y was given. Here the x was needed to be calculated, here the y was needed to be calculated. What if we don't give you x and y? Both the things are to be calculated. So in that case, we'll make the equation. Since both the things need to be calculated, we'll make the equation. And depending upon the number of variables, that many number of equations we'll make, and that's how we will solve it. Obviously, the question will be lengthy, and that's why it's the difficulty level is going for the item. And I mean the advanced, not the base. So, in this question, we need to calculate R. Particle will collide somewhere here. So what I'll do, this point height with respect to this horizontal, I am defining as y, and this point I'm defining as x. So what I'll do, I'll define y in terms of R, x also in terms of R, which I did here. X comes out to be R cos 30, this angle is 30, this is R cos 30, which becomes R root 3 by 2, and the y becomes R sin 30, which becomes R by 2. The particle will collide here when x is this much, time is this much, and y is this much. I'll make two equations. First using these two conditions, and then using these two conditions. Equation 3 first I'll use, which says x is equals to ux into time. I'll put this condition. It will become R root 3 by 2 is equals to ux is 50 into t. Equation. In this equation, there are two unknowns. One is R, one is Then I use the second equation. Y is uyt plus half ay t square. I'll put these conditions. So r by 2 is equals to plus 50 root 3 t naught minus half into 10 into I need to calculate r. The value of t naught from equation 1 be replaced in equation 2. If I replace the value of t naught from equation 1 into equation 2, I'll have a quadratic equation involving r. Let's do it. Next page I'll go.
So can you go back to the previous page once? Yes, sir.
Everybody has noted till this point? R by 2. So R by 2 is equals to 50 root 3 into t naught. In place of t naught, I'll write R root 3 by 2 by 50, which becomes 100. R root 3 upon 100 minus 5 R root 3 by 100 square. So now I'm having a quadratic equation involving the R. Two things. So R by 2 is equals to 3R minus 5 into 3 into R square divided by 100 into 100. 20. Everything take on the left hand side. So it will be 3R square upon 2000 minus R by 2, sorry, 3R minus R by 2, that's down 6, 5 R by 2 is equals to 0. R common, it becomes 3R upon 2000 minus 5 by 2 is equal. So one condition is R0, obviously this is the point of projection. Point of projection. And the second answer is R is equals to 2000 into 5 divided by 3 into 2. So that becomes 1000. R becomes 5000 upon 3. That will be approximately, this is a point of impact. Point of impact. Check my calculation, is it all right?
Sir, you have got 5R by 2. Isn't it 3R by 2 in the second step?
3R6 minus 5R by 2. It's 5R by 2.
Sir, 3R by 2, sir. There's a 2 at
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes, sir. That's 3R by 2.
That's
3R
3R by 2.
100R 3 by 2. This you're talking about?
No, sir.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
you cancel out this.
Yeah. The 2 is there. Sorry, I forgot about that. So it will be 3R by 2 minus R by 2. That is the R. So that will be 1. So that's it. R. So that will be 1.
2000 by 3, sir.
1000 by
Into
3.
one, sir. Into one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
2000 by
That
3.
becomes 666.67. Okay. So process is quite easy. I think it's not that difficult. Any
Can we
problem
go
in this
back to the
process?
previous page?
No, sir.
So we converted the unknown values in terms of R. Focus was on to making the equation, which for the future is the right way. We generally go by the equation in the future. Condition, equation, condition, equation. While making the equation, we think about the number of values.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Put down this one as well. Now, same question, different method. Values were 100, 30, 60. Now, the thing is, till now, we were assuming this as x-axis and this as y-axis, isn't it? And when we are assuming this as x-axis, it's quite easy if the point of projection and the point of impact is along the same x-axis. But it's not a law. It's not a law that x-axis should be taken along the horizontal. It's up to you. The only rule is that angle between x and y axis should be 90. That's the only rule. Other things, it's up to you to take the axis in any direction. So the different method, what we will do, we'll assume this as x-axis and this as y-axis. So you see, the moment I assume this as my x-axis, this as my x-axis, so what can I say? If this is my x-axis, so can I say, if this is my x-axis, can I say when the particle will hit the plank, the displacement along y-axis will be 0? Isn't it? Tell me, if this is my x-axis, then can I say when the particle will hit the plank, displacement along y-axis will be 0?
Yes, sir.
Those conditions we already know. How to utilize those conditions we already know. Either we go for changing the condition or keep the condition same, change the coordinate system. So changing the condition we have seen in the previous method. This time we are going to change the coordinate. So if this is my new coordinate, this x dash and y dash, then the displacement, when the displacement along y-axis will be 0, at that time, whatever the displacement along x dash axis, that will be our range, or that is the displacement, that is the point or height along the plank. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
But the problem is ux, uy, ax, ay. We have defined those along these axes, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
If we are changing the axis, we have to redefine ux, uy, ax, ay corresponding to our new axis. So, with respect to new axis. So, in future, whenever you will decide to change the axis, can you change the axis? Yes. Whenever you want, you can change the axis. It's up to you. But if you change the axis,
then you have to define, or you have to calculate each and every component along the new axis. That's the condition. Kinematical equations will not change. Meaning Vx is equal to Ux plus ATXT rahega. All the kinematical equations, they are independent of axis. They are independent of axis. If you change the axis, kinematical equations don't change. They remain same. But the components, they will change. So when you are changing the axis, you have to change the component. So this is the U100. This is U. So we have to change. We have to take the component of U along this axis and this axis. What's the formula?
So for this, Ux is equal to U cos
U cos
60 minus 30.
Yeah, that is 30. Because this angle is 30, which is 50 root 3. So our new Ux dash becomes 50 root 3. Uy dash becomes U sin 50. It will be 15%. What about Ax dash? Will it be 0?
Yes, sir.
No.
No.
It will not be 0. The thing is, acceleration is G. Net acceleration is G. And this is our new X dash and Y dash.
So it will be minus G sin 60.
Yeah. This is 30, this is 60, this angle will be 30. So if you take the component of G, previously along this direction, component of G was 0, which was X. But ab hamara X here. Now this is my X axis. So G will be having component along this. So component of G along this direction will be G sin 30 here and the G cos 30 here. So Ax dash will be minus of, because minus y, because this is in this direction. X dash we have taken positive in this. Minus of G sin 30, which is minus 5. And the Ay dash will be equals to minus G cos 30, which will be minus 5 root 3 meter per second. And the question is solved. For all future purpose, this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. Condition क्या रहेगा? When y becomes 0, t is equals to t naught, x will be equals to. Get t naught? Then use t naught to calculate. Either you change the component, make new x-axis, y-axis, or you keep the older x-axis, y-axis, and make the equation.
So using these, we can even derive formulas for time of flight and range.
Yes. School ke liye karna, hame nahi karna. Previous formulas we are not using. What we will do with these formulas now? Mark my word, if you are going for the formulas, you cannot think about any competitive exam. Any competitive exam. Engineering bhul jao. If you are focusing onto the formulas, forget about IT, forget about NIT, forget about weights, forget about KUY. If you are preparing for NEET, then make a plan for 5 years. If you are going by the formula. 5-year plan you have to make. If 12 karenge, फिर बैठेंगे, करते रहेंगे, मगर करते रहेंगे. Because if you keep bugging up the formulas, in a short run you will be happy. Because after the finishing of the chapter, if I take the test and you remember the formula, it will be easy for you to recall. But the moment I'll go for like clubbing the 3 chapters or 5 chapters and going for the half syllabus or the full syllabus, you'll be at the bottom. That's why I keep saying don't rely on to the formulas. Remembering the formula is a good thing, but only remembering the formula is a very bad thing. So do the derivation just for practice. That's your homework. Calculate for this Planck kind of thing. Make the formula for time of flight. Make the formula for R. Make the formula for Hmax. This time Hmax will be calculated along this with respect to snag. Make the formula. So basically derive. Purpose is Not to remember these formulas. Purpose is to go through that, to become like proficient in this calculation. Okay, by changing the axis system. So note down these values, and I'll give you for derivation. I'll make the things for you. When you are deriving, this angle you take as beta, this angle you take as alpha, this as u. Okay. So the particle will be thrown with a speed u. Projectile angle with respect to horizontal will be alpha. Planck angle with respect to horizontal will be beta. So you have to calculate time of flight. Obviously, projectile will be hitting the Planck. Calculate time of flight, calculate range, and then calculate Hmax with respect to Planck. Make the formulas for these. As a homework, this is homework for you. And this question we did one more time after the class. You again solve this question without looking at the solution. One more time.
Yes.
Using this method as well as the next method. Okay. Note down this. Note down करो. Next class का homework है आपके पास में, and DPP3 I have uploaded. So start solving that DPP. And DPP2 solution I have given onto the WhatsApp group. There you can check, and whatever mistake you made, you can correct that mistake. And if in the DPP there is a different method, go to the different method as well. As many methods as you can see, it's always good. Okay. Note down this. Then we will finish the class. Next class we'll do the questions. Next class we'll do more questions onto the projectile, and we'll be starting the new topic next class. Projectile theory is finished. Only the questions, condition equation. That's what we do. Projectile. So next class either we'll start the circular motion. Yeah, we'll go by the circular motion. And those who haven't attended the initial classes, no? The classes are happening from 7 to 9. So cover the portion. Yeah, Nicholas, which DPP you have a doubt?
Sir, in DPP3.
DPP3 अभी solve करो ना सर.
तो solve किया था उसी में doubt है अभी.
How many questions you were able to solve?
Sir, like except for one question, I could solve everything.
And it's good thing.
Sir, I have a doubt in question number 5, sir.
I have to open it actually. Right now I don't have access for that.
Sir, I'll take the question. Sir.
You see, when we are giving the assignments, when you submit the assignment, I never expect that you will be able to solve whole. So whatever you are able to solve, you submit that. The remaining questions जो रहेंगे और solution में दिख जाएगा, you'll get the answer. Then we discuss.
Yes.
Because if I discuss now, it will for others they'll not be able to write.
Sir.
Now for me, it is nothing actually. It'll take hardly 5 seconds to discuss. But again, you submit that and try to get that answer on your own. If you get the answer on your own, that's the best case scenario possible. Best case scenario.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll be finishing the class. Okay. Your homework you have, score करना है, practice करना है. Do as much calculation as possible now. Scale, yeah? And try to go for different permutation combination for these things. Always remember condition and the equation. Only these two things. We make the formula just to forget about them. Because formulas are nothing in physics. They are just the results of specific conditions. And condition will keep changing. Any formula you see in the physics, that formula is valid for a condition. An examiner, they always play with a condition. People who rely on the formula, they are not able to solve because they don't think about conditions. The condition will keep changing. Okay? So
Yeah.
Today's class will go on. Next class, we'll do the problems onto the projectile and we will start the circle. Okay. Good day, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.